Hey, Matt.
Hey, Jen.
What are you listening to this week? Welcome to Season 8 of What Are You Listening To? The weekly podcast created to foster community through music by sharing the stories behind the songs that soundtrack our lives. Some of the songs are old, some new, all good. I'm Jenn Tully, and this week I'm joined by my friend and co-host of The Battle, Matt Sidhom. In addition to joining me on Season 3 of The Battle, actually Seasons 1, 2, and 3 of The Battle, Matt is also the co-host of the Super Awesome Mix podcast and co-founder of the Super Awesome Mix podcasting network. This week, Matt and I are going full Matt and Jen mode, and we're going to talk about two of our favorite things, music and movies. And what's our favorite pairing of music and movies? Don't say the 80s movie. You're right, but don't say that one for this week's episode. This week's episode, it's the biopic. And so we're going to go there. We've got, there have been some great ones in the past, like the Buddy Holly story, The Doors, Sid and Nancy, Coal Miner's Daughter, Straight Outta Compton. And then there are some highly anticipated ones on the way. We've got the Michael Jackson story just opened. By the time this airs, it will have opened on Friday. It opened on the 24th. The Beatles biopic is coming, starring Paul Mescal, Harris Dickinson, Barry Keoghan, Joseph Quinn is the Fab Four. That's supposed to be a four-film cinematic event with each film being told from a different band member's perspective. And then it sounds like we're finally going to get this Madonna movie we've all been waiting for that's been floating around Hollywood forever. So it looks like that's finally going to go into production this year. So we thought we'd take a look back and a look forward for this week's episode about our favorite songs from musician or band biopics. So which songs do you think we're going to discuss? Tune into our conversation to find out. And in case our song picks are new to you, we'll publish a playlist with the episode so you don't miss a beat. With that, let's get started. Matt, you know I'm excited about this one. I always love it when you and I come together to talk about not just music, but movies and music, right? It's one of our favorites.
Yeah. Oh, and this is going to be a four-part podcast. You said there's a four-part movie with the Beatles. We're going to go on for about 4 hours here.
That's what we're going to do. I think we could.
I think we
really could. I mean, if the listeners want it, you got it. Like, we can go.
Yeah, let us know at Super Awesome Mix if we just need to go on and on about this. Okay, actually, my first question is it biopic or biopic? Can we settle that once and for all?
We had the same question. I actually wrote that as my note. I'm like, how are we going to play this? I don't know. I've always heard of it as a biopic, right?
I think it should be biopic. Biopic sounds like a procedure I'm having.
Yeah, I feel like a biopic is a biography, biography picture, right? So yes, okay. Let's go with biopic. Okay. I think it's biopic for this week. There we go. We just solved it. We just solved grammar.
Got one done. Check that box.
Grammar.
All right. My first pick. It is from the movie Walk the Line. Okay. With Joaquin Phoenix and Reese Witherspoon. And I actually picked the version of the song Jackson that they put out with their voices, not the original by Johnny Cash and June Carter Cash. So, the song itself is awesome, right? One of the best duets we have out there, I think, generally. Joaquin Phoenix and Reese Witherspoon do a really good job recreating it. And it's part of a movie that I think, it wasn't, I think, on your list that you just rattled off, but it's in the category of like best version of this type of movie, right? In that it does show you how great Johnny Cash was, but it also shows you the downside and the destructive side of things. And I think if you're going to make a biopic, I do think you kind of have to run the gamut a little bit. And we're going to get into some of these things here, as we go through these movies. But they did a really good job of that in this movie. And granted, it was before my time. Like, I didn't know as much about Johnny Cash. I knew a little bit, but like, a lot of it was new to me in the sense that there were a lot of details that I had only vaguely heard of. But I thought that movie was really well done. Obviously, I think they were both nominated for Oscars. Yeah. And then did both win or Reese Witherspoon won?
I think Reese Witherspoon won.
Yeah. So, and then this song came out of it, and they both can really sing, and they both do a great job here. And so, yeah, I don't know. This is I kind of want to start on a high note, I feel like, with this.
Yeah, no, I love this. And this one is one I would have rattled off in those classics, but I knew it was your first pick. So no spoiler alerts here.
That's good producing right there.
See, that's what I do.
Producing.
That's what I do. It's the brains here. But I'm with you. I love this song. I love this movie. And I actually was in New York City when they premiered it. I was in town for the Country Music Awards, or the Country Music Association Awards that year. It was the only year they've ever done them in New York City, and I had clients there, and so I took my dad. My dad, as you guys know, is a big country music fan, and so he and I went to the CMAs that year, and it was insane. I mean, just all of the legends and talent that we were around was unbelievable. But because the Walk the Line premiere was in town at the same time, a lot of the, like, they were really promoting, it was intentional, right? And so a lot of the stars from Walk the Line were at the CMAs and vice versa. So the parties were very commingled that weekend, and we just had a blast. So on top of me loving it anyway, I have these very fond memories of, actually like being at the premiere and meeting some of the talent and all of those things. And one of the things that I love, I think we'll get into this as we talk about the 4 films that we're going to go with the songs we picked this week. I love that they actually sang. I know sometimes it's not possible.
Yeah.
The talent is more important than the voice. I think a great example of that is like Jessica Lange in the Patsy Cline story, right? It'd be really hard to recreate Patsy Cline. And I think Jessica Lange was brilliant in the role, So I think that it's probably a challenging decision when you're casting and directing a film like that. But I really did appreciate and love that they actually sang, and that it was like their interpretation, right? Like I like that, and I think that they also said it, like they were never trying to mimic Johnny Cash and June Carter Cash. They were trying to interpret. And I think that there's a difference between like, I am interpreting this and I'm giving you an impression of, I'm impersonating.
Yeah.
So I think their line between interpretation and impersonation, they walked a really fine line. How about
well
that?
done. You're walking a line now. This is good.
I'm on fire this morning. And so I loved that too. I thought that they did such a good job at like embodying the characters, but it didn't feel like a caricature. It felt like, they were playing these parts, but they weren't impersonating or making fun of. Sometimes I feel like that's got to be so hard.
Well, yeah, because I think the natural tendency when you're playing a real person is to try to get it as close to that person as possible, right?
Yeah.
And kind of learn sort of how they are. But, it's interesting because if you've ever heard Dana Carvey talk about impressions, because he's obviously brilliant at sort of impersonating people, he talks about how you have to study a person and get into kind of their rhythms. And sometimes their rhythms and mannerisms make an impression almost more so than the exact sound of the voice.
Exactly.
Right? And I think what you get here in this movie is it's like Joaquin Phoenix is such a great physical actor, right? And so he's able to kind of make you think like, well, that's clearly Johnny Cash up there, to where like you're not really thinking about if his voice sounds exactly like Johnny Cash because he is carrying himself as Johnny Cash, right? Yeah. Now, on the other end of this, that is actually like brilliantly done is you think about Jamie Foxx and Ray, right? Where it's like he is like an impersonator, right? Like he can embody people, and he absolutely did that there, where he's able to do the voice, the mannerisms, everything about
Jim
it.
Morrison, Val Kilmer doing Jim Morrison in The Doors. That was a 100%, like he was Jim Morrison in that role. Yeah. And I think we have to shout out costume, hair, and makeup here too, because I think that's a really I think second to those mannerisms Dana Carvey was talking about is the costume, hair, and makeup. Like they've got to physically resemble the people that they're playing enough that it makes sense. We'll get into that directly, but I think that that was all done so well in this film, and it was worthy of all the awards that it got. And like you said too, I just love this song. I love the playfulness of it. It feels so authentic to like a long-term couple. The way you tease one another. Like Patrick and I will still say, like his big joke is like, I'm going out for milk. Like and he's never coming back. Like that's his I'm going to Jackson, right? I'm like, go ahead, like brush your hair, make sure you look good at the grocery store for all the Lululemon mommies. Like, go Go right ahead. Like these are actual conversations that we still have as grown-ass adults. So I'm like, I love the playfulness of this song. It really like embodies that. And when you know the story about Johnny and June Carter Cash, like it really, like it's just, I think it's like you said, it's one of the most perfect duets ever made. And I also encourage listeners to go listen to both versions. Go listen to the Reese Witherspoon, Joaquin Phoenix version, and go listen to the June Carter Cash, Johnny Cash version, and let us know which one you like better. I think they're both so good. It's almost hard for me to pick a favorite. I really like them both.
Yeah.
I really like them both. So, all right. Well, then we're going to get into your second pick, Matt. Let's go here. This is something I think we have a lot to say about. So we're going to have to decide if this is going to be a 2-part episode or just one. Like this may turn into a 2-parter, I'm feeling.
All right. My second pick is Born in the USA, the 1982 demo version that went along with the film release of Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere, which came out late last year. And with that, they came out. Now, that movie focused on the making of Bruce's album called Nebraska. And at the time, he recorded the album like in his kitchen, right? Like, and it was essentially a demo. And then he brought the E Street Band together and they recreated the album. And it was always famously known as Electric Nebraska. But ultimately, what version came out and kind of became more famous was that original demo version that he just recorded in his kitchen. And so Electric Nebraska had never really gotten out there. And also what was probably unknown to a lot of fans is that there were a handful of songs that he wrote around the same time and even recorded that he would later put out on a different album, right? Including this one, Born in the USA. And so that's kind of the story behind this, is that this is like an early recording of Born in the USA, not the version that has been played 10 million times.
Yeah.
10 million is probably underselling it. Actually, 10 billion might be closer, right? At this point, and
kind of the defining song. It's the defining song of Bruce Springsteen. I mean, I think if you say to somebody, name a Bruce Springsteen song, they're going to say Born in the USA 9 times out of 10. I mean, of course, they're going to say I'm on Fire, or like he has plenty of other hits, but I think 9 out of 10 people are going to say Born in the USA.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so so that part's cool, and that's why I picked this song, is because I don't know if people have heard this version of Born in the USA, which is a much darker song than most people realize. I always laugh every year because on the 4th of July and during a fireworks display, there will inevitably be somebody playing Born in the USA and everyone's shouting it. And I'm like, nobody bothers to listen to the verses here. And Bruce has even said, he's like, look, you get people on the music, you get people on the chorus, and sometimes they dig in on the verses. He's like, so he gets why that happens, right? He's not like oblivious to it, but it does kind of make me laugh the way this is sort of a national anthem now when it's really not.
Not at all. And it's so funny. I figured this would come up because you and I have talked about it before, but this is a protest song. This is not Proud to Be an American by Lee Greenwood, right? Like, I pulled this from an NPR story because I think this is one of the best summaries I've ever heard of it. But I think that this describes the song nicely. Born in the USA's triumphant chorus is often mistaken for blind patriotism, but the lyrics actually describe the grim realities of Vietnam veterans, economic hardships, a nation that neglected its working class citizens. The song is a critique of American policy and a somber reflection on the country's broken promises. I'm like, okay, that's right. That nails it. And yet everybody, like you said, at the 4th of July, and I'm like, keep on shouting it because maybe people will dig into the lyrics and we'll see some change.
That's right. Yeah. And I'm actually usually the guy on the 4th of July going, hey, listen to the lyrics of this one.
Yeah.
There's a message here.
There's something to learn.
Okay, so now I set all this up because we want to get into the biopic, Deliver Me From Nowhere. Okay, now, Jen, you and I have talked about this off air. Neither one of us like this movie. Okay,
I hated it.
And I'm a massive Bruce Springsteen fan.
Yes.
Anyone who's listened to this podcast, either your show, The Battle, our main show, Super Awesome Mix, I talk about Bruce all the time. I love it. I love him. Right? This was a bad movie. All right, now. Right off the bat. Now, I had a bad taste in my mouth going into this movie because Jeremy Allen White, who plays Bruce Springsteen, had previously played in a biopic called The Iron Claw, about the wrestling Von Erich brothers, okay, who were from Dallas. Zac Efron's in the lead of that movie, but Jeremy Allen White makes an appearance. And he plays Zac Efron's brother, Kerry Von Erich. Now, any wrestling fans out there are nodding their head. They know exactly where I'm going with this, because Kerry Von Erich was a monster. He was the biggest of the five Von Erich brothers, right? He was huge. And he became the biggest star. He actually got to, at the time, the WWF, now the WWE. He was like Intercontinental Champion, all these other things, right? He was the biggest star coming out of that family. So he sort of floats in and out of that movie. But the problem is Jeremy Allen White is like 5'7".
Right.
Okay? And anybody watching this is like, why is the smallest guy on the screen the biggest star out of this group? Like, it doesn't translate as well. And again, you're making a movie about wrestling. So it is relevant, right?
It is. Well, and I think, this goes back to what we were talking about. Like, you can't just get away on, like, I'm going to do my best impersonation of this person. Like, no, there has to be some sort of, like, physical resemblance that can then be finished off with hair and makeup and costumes and mannerisms. Like, but if you're starting from something so far off, like, I don't know. It just takes you out of the moment. And I felt the same way about Iron Claw. And then in terms of the Springsteen movie, Deliver Me From Nowhere, I mean, I think I texted you after the 4th or 5th time I tried to start watching it. I would like watch 10 minutes and then like, I can't anymore. Watch 10 minutes. I can't anymore. And I think I finally texted you and I'm like, am I crazy? Is this the worst movie I've ever seen in my life? Like, I know I'm not as big a Bruce fan as you, but if anybody knows, I'm going to ask you. And then when you were like, I haven't even bothered to watch it, I was like, okay, well, maybe don't, first off. And the second, like, I can't even focus because to me, Jeremy Allen White looks 0% like Bruce Springsteen. 0%. Not even a little bit. The whole time I was watching, I was like, I can't focus because I don't know who this is. This isn't Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah, he looks nothing like him to begin with. So hair and makeup can only do so much. Right? And then he's not an impersonator, right? He's a very good actor. So, like, I'm not trying to knock him as an actor, but I think it goes into this sort of realm where it's like he can't do an impersonation. And now it's not even interpretation necessarily because he's trying to sound like him.
Right.
He doesn't really look like him. So I think that kind of bumps you right off the bat, right? So that's number one. Second, this movie focuses on the making of Nebraska. And Jeremy Strong plays his manager.
Even worse. And I love Jeremy's. I'm a huge Succession fan. I love him in all of the Adam McKay movies. Like, again, one of the most talented actors. And I'm like, please make him stop embarrassing himself. I hate this.
We don't play drops on this show, but I really want to isolate when you say even worse right there, because that was too good. Yeah, he plays like, and in the movie, and again, we weren't around then. We weren't part of these conversations, so we're just witnessing this, okay? But he, as the manager, is this very sanctimonious person who's kind of in charge of shielding Bruce from the suits, right? Like the producers who were trying to be like, hey, why don't we do this with the album? Or why don't we do that with the album? Including them going, hey, this Born in the USA song is amazing. Shouldn't that be on the album? And it's like, no, Bruce isn't going to do that. Bruce is going to make this album. This is the album he has to make, right? Like, that's Jeremy Strong's role in this movie. And then here's where it gets weird. Like, the final scene of the movie, it like fades away. And it tells you, like, Nebraska, there was no publicity, nothing, but it still hit number 6 on the charts or whatever, right? And then it's like, Born in the USA came out 4 years later and made $1 trillion. And it was like, wait a minute.
You're like, when do I get the movie where I learn about Born in the USA? Because this movie sucked. It was cast terribly. And I never even got to hear the song that I thought I was going to get to freaking hear.
But you just told me for 2 hours. You had these guys dressed as Bruce and his manager telling me how important this Nebraska album is. And then your final shot is telling me how Born in the USA, who the quote-unquote bad guys in the movie are telling Bruce to put out now. like became his greatest selling album and biggest hit later. So it's like, so it's the lesson that Bruce doesn't know what he's talking about. His manager doesn't know what he's talking about. Like, yeah.
Or like also too, can we talk about, I mean, like Clive Davis doesn't feature hugely in the film, but he's kind of the one that like calls out like, no. The hit here is Born in the USA. Like, are we going to also go against Clive Davis? Maybe the greatest, like discovered Whitney and Michael and you know what I'm like? No, it's just ridiculous. I mean, the whole thing is like, I had no idea what the point of it was. And I felt like you can listen to Bruce Springsteen's music and tell that he is an introspective person. Like, I didn't need to know that he had this like manic depressive episode. I don't know. It just felt like it was shining a light on this very, very, very small part of this very gigantic artist that has so much more. Again, like if this would have been part one in a 4-part biopic series about Bruce Springsteen, maybe, but I just felt like this was such a weird thing to focus on without and they don't touch on anything about how, because we did battle with serial killers, like I knew some of the history about Nebraska too, so I thought, maybe they're going to bring a really interesting storyline in here about why he was super fascinated about that and how that influenced this, and nothing. You don't get any of that. There's no interesting tidbits about Nebraska in this movie.
No, they really, and I think what gets me about this movie is that if you're not a Bruce fan and you just go in and watch this movie, I don't think you walk away liking Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
I think you're just like, I guess he's kind of difficult to deal with, right? Yeah. Like that's kind of what you get from that, when really he's probably the opposite. Not that he doesn't have opinions or anything, but like I think relative to a lot of stars, he's probably relatively easy to deal with.
Yes.
And you don't really understand from the film how he's a big star either, because it just seems like he doesn't want to be a star. But like you catch him right in between this time where it's like it's past Born to Run. He is a major star at this point in his life, right? And then as he puts it in his biography, Born in the USA comes out and it just goes nuclear. So he's like, he understood he was a star, but he even recognizes, he's like, yeah, with Born in the USA, it just went to this unfathomable level, right? Like he's playing football stadiums at that point.
They didn't even like connotate that. Like to me, he's an unknown. If you're not a Springsteen fan, like he's walking around the streets in Asbury Park and like when he's in New York, he's in Manhattan, he's on the street. Nobody's like, hey, Bruce, like... nobody recognized him because Jeremy Allen White looked nothing like him. That's what happened.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, they had all these extras walking by and they're trying to get them fired up.
Which guy's Bruce?
That's Bruce.
Which guy's Bruce?
They keep stopping some extra.
Totally.
They're like, hey, Bruce Springsteen. No. I'm getting $11 a day like you are. No,
Jeremy Allen White's like, I'm over here. I'm the guy playing Bruce.
Oh,
it's me.
God, that guy.
That's it. That's why. That's why it wasn't apparent that he was a big star at the time.
Couldn't pull it off.
None of the extras could recognize that Jeremy Allen White was supposed to be Bruce Springsteen. That's actually the best conclusion I think we've come to about this film.
I think so.
I think that's it.
So I love Bruce Springsteen. I love the song. I'm happy to share the song with everyone. Yes. But you know what? Don't go see Deliver Me From Nowhere. It's not worth your time.
Maybe don't. But do listen to the version of this song. I think that this version is much more, like you said, it sort of connotates the meaning behind the song in a very different way that is a lot more congruent with what the song is saying than the 4th of July version that we all know. So, yeah, look at this. We're giving assignments everywhere. Go listen to the original version.
Go do that. Yes.
Johnny Cash and June Carter. Go listen to Bruce, Born in the USA, and then the demo. We're just going to keep doling it out. We're going to keep doling out the responsibilities. Going. Hey, listeners, thank you for joining me for part 1 of our Music from BioPics Waylet episode. I'll be back next week to discuss my picks with Matt. So please tune in for part 2 next week of our BioPics episode of What Are You Listening To? Thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoyed the show.